Action. How's it going, guys? My name is Xavier Lubovisky.
My name is Ricky.
My name is Justin.
And this is our project on a man who stole from the union. Now, to start off, we got to ask ourselves, what is a union? Well, a union is defined as a club, society, or association formed by people with a common interest or purpose. Unions were very big starting back in the 80s when the labor unions came together for equal rights for laborers. Unions helped get labor employees rights such as health care, paid time off, and from there they expanded more and more to the safe ways and now they're trying to expand into Amazon. Now, in this presentation, you will learn about three things. A man who stole from the union. I know, crazy, right? Someone stealing from people who are trying to help the workers. His internal control principles and what the company could have done differently to prevent this in the future.
So who was involved, when this happened, and where this happened? So those three individuals were Brian Aljajuelo, his wife, Marilyn Aljajuelo, and his sister-in-law, Jennifer Estencion. This happened back in August 22nd of 2019. It was in a labor union called the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, in short, IBEW. This was located in Local 1260 in Honolulu, Hawaii. So what happened? Brian Aljajuelo was charged with wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. Wire fraud consisted of essentially two components. The first is orchestrating the rigged elections, and the second is causing the employer to collect increased union dues that he electronically moved into a bank account controlled by Local 1260. He was charged with money laundering for directing the transfer of the process of the wire fraud from Local 1260's electronic funds into its general operating funds, where they used the money for non-official purposes. He assigned himself, his wife, and sister-in-law official business credit cards for personal use. He also gave his sister-in-law, Jennifer Estencion, the job to approve all of the credit card purchases. These included personal travels, like visits to Las Vegas and Virginia. Slide.
So why did he do this? He did this to benefit himself and his family, also to pay for his wife's car, and to go on many trips with the company's money. Slide. Oh, slide. Never mind. Brian Aljajuelo siphoned thousands of dollars from IBEW Local 2060 and tried to replenish the funds by raising union dues through rigged elections. They created fake ballots so that it shows that the members voted for something that they have not done. He used his authority as business manager and financial secretary to fill vacancies on companies' executive boards with people who had no experience but were loyal to him. And by doing this, he gained complete control over the company's finances to abuse the power to benefit himself and his family members. He got jobs for his wife and his sister-in-law and assigned himself and the two of them an official credit card. He also gave his sister-in-law the job of reviewing and approving credit card purchases that had no legitimate business purposes, and they used the money to buy the car and go on trips. After running Local 2060's $700,000 budget surplus down to a $700,000 deficit, Brian Aljajuelo proposed a solution to raise union dues by about 100%. And when he didn't have the votes to get the resolution passed, he and his co-dependent rigged the union vote to change the result. In particular, they falsified sign-in sheets from membership meetings and prepared fake ballots, indicating that members voted in favor of the resolutions when they actually did not. As a result of their criminal conspiracy, the resolution passed and union members paid $3.7 million in dues that they shouldn't have paid. Slide. In the internal control principles, Brian rigged and created the ballots, and the violations that occurred was the physical controls. They were able to manipulate the voting systems rather than keeping the voting papers safe from getting rigged. And the second one, segregation of duties. Only one person was responsible for this activity, which should have been different individuals that were supposed to check it for mistakes and for being manipulated. Slide. The next example is the misuse of credit card. The first example is the independent internal verification. It was not verified with other employees and made a selfish decision. And the second violation is the segregation of duties. There was no professional authorization of using the company's money and falsely recording the transaction they used for the money. Slide.
Now, what could have been done differently to prevent all this from happening? Because obviously over $1 million was stolen from this company. So obviously there could have been some things that the company itself could have done better. Well, first, they could have hired someone to check the references of the new employees. You know, Brian was allowed to hire and vet all of these employees without anyone checking. That's normally unheard of in a big corporate business. I know the union is not corporate, but in a big business, normally there is a human resources department to check the references of the new employees. Um, Also, what they could have done is hired an outside auditing company. You know, a lot of companies hire these auditing companies just to go over their finances and make sure they're doing everything correctly. In this case, I would believe that an auditing company would have found all of these egregious expenses that Brian was spending. They could have also used purchase orders. Now, what a purchase order does is it tells you exactly what you're spending on. You have to fill out an order for every time you spend, every time you purchase something. And I believe that with those purchase orders, they would have been able to see this faster. Also, they could have supervised the employees more closely. Now, I know this one may be kind of hard to do. It's hard to watch exactly what your employees are doing. However, when over $1 million goes missing, in my opinion, you have not been supervising close enough. Um, another thing that they could have done a little better is beware of their accounts receivable. It just goes with the whole looking into what is being spent. They could have done better finding out. Also, they should have provided a way for the employees to report any theft or fraud that they saw. You know, a lot of coworkers have the kind of code of silence with each other, where if you see something, you don't say anything about it. However, I believe that if they had a if they had a good way of going to a higher authority without feeling the pressure of getting caught and being the bad one at work, then maybe people would be more susceptible to telling what they saw. Finally, it's just know who you're hiring. I know it's hard to really learn about people after one interview, but just try your best to learn as much as you can about who you're hiring before hiring them. Now, all of these solutions, I believe, are good for small and large businesses. The only one that would really cost any money is hiring an outside auditing company, which honestly most small businesses should be able to afford. So there's no like really big expensive solutions here. Everything is very obtainable. Now, in conclusion, what I found amazing, shocking, was there was actually no word on the sentencing, but the maximum penalty that he was facing was only 1 year and $10,000. 1 year in jail and paying a fine of $10,000, which is crazy to me for stealing over $1 million. Even more surprising to me was that he was never actually fired. He was actually allowed to retire, and this was shocking to me because by allowing him to retire, he's able to keep all of his pension, all of his benefits, and really suffers no real action for what he did. So I found that surprising. This was our presentation. Again, I'm Xavier.
I'm Justin.
And that was our presentation. Thank you guys.
Thank you.